Happy Friday, True Blazer fans. This is Tori, and in this video, we're going to get to know our 2019 playoff opponent, which is the Oklahoma City Thunder, a team that many of us despise, and a team that I hope we take to the cleaners and wipe them out of this year's playoffs. Hit that subscribe button down below if you haven't already done so. Follow me on Twitter at ToryJonesYT. Follow the channel at TrueBlazerFan. And with that, let's jump straight into this preview and get to know the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Thunder are a team that loves to turn defense into offense. They force the most turnovers in the NBA by playing a very physical brand of defense. We've seen it so far in the Blazers' 4 matchups against them, as the Thunder got away with seemingly bullying the Blazers. This is a Thunder team that fouls a lot, but they are so physical that they do end up getting the benefit of the doubt from time to time. It's that Memphis Grizzlies type of reputation with refs, where they consistently play physical and the refs don't want to call a foul on them every time down the floor, so they're able to get away with more than your average team. That's going to be a theme in this postseason, as the Thunder are going to play physical defense and really try and bully Dame and CJ and get the ball out of their hands. In the postseason, the refs also let teams play more physical, so that should benefit the Oklahoma City Thunder. They'll be able to be a little bit more handsy, bump a little bit more, and their physical brand of basketball won't get punished as much as it did in the regular season. How the refs call these games, whether they call it tight or whether they let the guys play, quote, playoff basketball, will play a big factor in this series. The Thunder turn those turnovers into a lot of fast break points. They love getting steals and will gamble to do so just so they can get out and run the fast break. They're the opposite of Portland in that regard. They're willing to gamble, they want to force turnovers, and they want to get out on the break, while Portland plays a more conservative defense and plays a more half-court offense. A big reason the Thunder do like to run is their half-court offense isn't quite as good as one would expect. While they do have 2 stars in Russell Westbrook and Paul George, the Thunder are one of the worst three-point shooting teams in the NBA, and this creates a lack of spacing for their half-court offense that at times is very hard for them to overcome. If a team is taking care of the ball against them, not letting them get steals and not letting them get runouts and fast break points, and they make the Thunder play a half-court offense, the Thunder are a very beatable team, and that's what's happened since the All-Star break, where the Thunder have not played anywhere near as well as they were earlier this season. The Thunder did have a very easy schedule before the All-Star break, and they had the hardest schedule in the NBA since the break, but they still have lost to teams that they should have beat. Shout out to Jay Allen for this stat. In 17 of the 20 games since the All-Star break, the Thunder were trailing at halftime. Paul George's production during that span has fallen off a cliff, and part of that is due to his injured shoulder. He's shooting 40% from the field and 33% from the three-point line since the All-Star break. This is a guy who burned the Portland Trail Blazers and many other teams earlier in the season, and who Blazer fans are somewhat afraid of going off again. But Paul George is not 100%. He has a lot of pain in his right shoulder, which is his shooting shoulder, and it's definitely been affecting him. He was also playing at a rate that he just could not keep up. While Paul George is an amazing player, his production before the All-Star break just wasn't sustainable over an entire season in my opinion. The Thunder do have some solid role players surrounding Paul George and Russell Westbrook. The most notable one is Steven Adams, who had great battles with Jusuf Nurkic earlier this season. He's a guy that we have to keep off the boards, and he could definitely be a problem in the post going up against Enes Kanter. While a lot of people would say Damian Lillard versus Russell Westbrook is the key matchup of the series, and although it's the most notable one, I don't think it's the key matchup. I think it comes down to how well Enes Kanter plays against Steven Adams and vice versa. Their 2 other starters is a young shooting guard in Terrence Ferguson, who's in his 2nd year, and he's made a pretty big jump this season. His defense has improved, and he's turned into a very solid 37% three-point shooter. This is a guy who, if he gets hot, can definitely be an X factor for the Thunder and can space the floor well for PG and Russ. This is a guy who gets a lot of great opportunities because of the attention that those two draw, and his shot making is going to play a big factor in this series. The other guy is Jeremy Grant, who reminds me a lot of Al-Farouq Aminu in terms of his shooting. He's not a great shooter, but he'll get hot for stretches where he'll knock down a ton of threes. He's a very good defender at 6'9" and can defend 4, maybe even 5 positions, and he's also pretty athletic quick, a little bit of a slasher, but his three-point shooting is key for the Thunder in order to spread the floor for the offense. If he can hit threes like he has been lately, as he's been on a tear, then Jeremy Grant is going to present a problem for the Portland Trail Blazers because they won't be able to leave him in the corner to help out on drives from the two Thunder stars. The Thunder, in my opinion, have an overrated bench. I think Dennis Schroeder is a very overrated player. He's very inconsistent, and every now and then he'll win a game for the Thunder by playing amazing, but more often than not, he's inefficient. He needs the ball in his hands to be able to be effective. He's not that good of a three-point shooter, and he's a guy who struggles defensively. Their other top bench guys, Nerlens Noel at the backup center spot, and him versus Zach Collins is going to be a very interesting matchup to watch. Nerlens Noel's a very good defender, very good lob-catching big, but doesn't really shoot much outside of open layups and dunks. He's not a guy they're going to feed the ball to, but he's still a very effective big man. They picked up the bought-out Markieff Morris around the trade deadline, and his production has not been good for the Thunder so far. He's not hitting threes well, and he's not really finishing inside the arc like he has been earlier in his career. Now, the Morris twins have always killed the Portland Trail Blazers. Hopefully that will not be the case. And of course, they got Raymond Felton. I don't expect him to play that much because he's Raymond Felton, but if he does, Rip City will let him have it like they have since his debacle here 7 years ago. So that's a little bit of insight into our 2019 playoff opponent. Stay tuned, as tomorrow I will have a video talking about how the Blazers should game plan for the Oklahoma City Thunder. So with that, that's all I got for now, True Blazer fans. I'll see you later. Peace out. Go Blazers.